Hello everybody, welcome to the player card reviews for Point of No Return from the Dream Eater cycle. Let's dive right in and start talking about some cards. We're starting with Heroic Rescue. It is a level 2 spirit tactic event that commits for a brain, a book, or a foot symbol. Fast. Play when a non-elite enemy would attack another investigator location or connecting location. Move to that location if you're not already there. Engage that enemy and resolve its attack against you instead, then deal it 1 damage.
I like the level 0 version of this card, and the level 2 is like so much better.
Yeah, I think that this version might even be good almost. Unlike the level 0 one.
I think the level 0 one's fine.
I hard disagree. I think the level 0 one's trash.
But this one is like also a shortcut.
Yeah, no, this one, like, we went over this when we reviewed the first one, and that, like, you think of it and you're like, wow, perfect world situation, guy takes an attack, I steal it back, and I stab it with my survival knife or whatever and kill it. This card is like, there's just so many less criteria you have to meet to make it work. And that's why I think this one's like might actually be good.
The other one's like taunt, but it also works if it's not your turn or you don't have a turn left to play.
Yeah, but it's not very often that's going to be relevant, I don't think.
Yeah, well, I mean, like taunt is also not very often relevant. But yeah, like this one's also shortcut.
Yeah,
so this one's like kind of good.
Yeah, it's one of those things that the normal Justin comment for one of this, you don't want to play this in solo, so that's my insight. Won't do good there.
This card does have going through it. It's a spirit, so like Calvin can take the attack to boost his stats. Nathaniel Cho can grab it off his boxing gloves, and he also gets to deal an extra like 2 damage or an extra 1 damage with it. It's a tactic, so you can stick it underneath your stick to the plan. And have it like off to the side as emergency.
That's kind of nice. That is nice. But I mean, like, stick to the plan. It's just a great card.
Stick to the plan's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the card that does it does a lot of things that are really nice. It's just one of those things that with me, I'm always wary of cards that I need to have trigger by something else. However, when you're a guardian, it's going to be very easy for you to trigger this. But a lot of times, the people are going to have the enemy. You're gonna have the enemy over anything else. But in those times you don't and you need to get it, this is a nice way of doing it. And then being able to attack like with a survival knife or with Nathaniel Cho and bump it up. That is kind of tasty. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
What's next on our list? I can see it over here. Leadership. This is a level 2 practice skill that commits for a wild. While leadership is committed to a skill test being performed by another investigator, leadership gains brain and wild. If this test is successful, gain 2 resources. If leadership is committed to a skill test being performed by another investigator, that investigator also gains 2 resources. So, if you play solo and you only play blue, this pack is not good for you.
That is true.
Yeah.
I do also think that level 0 leadership is fine.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not like an incredible card or anything, but if your job is to protect your teammates, leadership does a pretty solid job of that.
Yeah, like going hard.
Yeah,
on
like
this, oh, sorry.
If I was limited sets, I wouldn't feel bad about playing leadership, but I would like never put it in my deck now.
Yeah, like the level 2 version is very strong though.
I think though, if you just like embrace the whole safeguard, I'm not doing anything except protecting you, my dear sweet flower. That's like where you can start doing stuff like this. But overall, though, level 0.
If you're doing that, you're probably protecting a clue gatherer, though. Someone who can't deal with enemies. And like yellow is the color that struggles the most with that. Most yellow guys have pretty good brains.
Yeah, unless you're like doing some sort of weird
things too.
Unless you're doing some sort of weird build where you're like protecting a Finn, which I don't know why you need to protect him. He could probably handle his own problems. I do agree with you, Travis. And level 0 leadership is fine enough. The 2 experience to gain like potentially 4 resources is nice, but when is it going to trigger, right?
Yeah, like leadership is a card I always look at when I'm building decks. I'm like, I could play this. I could see where it's good, but it just never makes the cut. Mm-hmm. And I think that I will be in a similar situation with this. Like, I'm like, yeah, that might be nice, but then I just never want to spend the 2 experience and find deck space for it.
Yeah, it is pretty cute if you're playing alongside a purple investigator.
Yep. Give them an extra guts, sort of.
Purple investigators are also often very, very resource hungry.
Mm-hmm.
See.
So
True.
like you both get to take two resources and you get to bump them up 3 on one of their tests.
It's for me as well as when I look at leadership. It's like Travis. It's very hard to make the cut. I mean, first off, I also don't play blue characters too much, but when I do, it doesn't really make the cut. And then there's much more experience that I want, like much more important stuff I want to spend my experience on. And then at that point, leadership is probably realistically out of my deck.
It is a practice skill.
Yeah.
Like most of my thought process for
practice
you can play with practice where it's perfect for your rate. It's a solid economy thing. You can both get 4 resources off your 1 practice, makes perfect or whatever. But
yeah, and then do it again.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You just get 4. But
so good.
My thought process with this one is basically like, if I'm playing a blue character, I'm probably playing a monster killer, and then I'm like, my teammates are probably going to plan to pass brain tests and other tests as well, because they want to not die to the game.
No,
Would I not be better off just committing these card slots and experience points to like doing things that they aren't good at, like killing monsters, and like assume that they have their own plan for dealing with, you know, rotting remains or whatever?
Yeah, I agree.
If you're assuming that, if you think your teammates are idiots though and they won't play like guts, you can play this though, guilt free.
You could play this with someone new for the first time when they build their deck, and you're like, I want to protect you. Be like, hey, I'm here to help you, no problem. I'll get you through this adventure.
Yeah.
Lickety split.
Yeah. Plus every time you get to commit it, you're like, no, don't worry, you can do this with my incredible leadership.
Yeah.
And
I will
like,
say though
what are you
that
talking about?
this is good for the long-term health of the game, that they upgrade cards that are like really old, right? And I think that I support that idea.
I would absolutely rather see upgraded versions of old cards as opposed to
new cards that
new level 0 cards.
Yep, definitely. All right, I have to just reset this, so I have to just quickly no one pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Next up, we got Dream Diary. So this is the upgraded version of one we talked about a while ago. We're going to talk about them all. We're going to have a nice, good conversation, but I'm only going to read like the big detail on one of them. So Dream Diary, Dreams of a Madman, is a 2-cost level 3 item tome charm asset that takes up your hand slot. You can only include this asset in your deck by upgrading it from the Dream Diary untranslated, and only if you've interpreted the dreams in your campaign log. While you're engaged with an enemy, your Essence of the Dream gains Wild. When your turn begins, search your bonded cards for Essence of the Dream and add it to your hand. So Essence of the Dream is just
Unexpected courage.
Yeah, it's an unexpected courage that will keep repeating itself. The other triggers for Dreams of a Child are when you have at least 8 cards in your hand, and then Dreams of an Explorer with the Shroud is 4. It gains Wild. So these upgrade cards, the first question I want to ask you guys to know what you think. With with the Dream Diary, do you want to do the Wild, or would you rather choose? Because they do seem kind of built for how your deck is made, right? This one honestly
to be honest, I'd probably just spin the wheel.
Yeah, like I would usually take shrewd analysis on this unless I had like a very exact plan for what I wanted them for. Like maybe I'm playing Joe Diamond and I'm like, I want Dreams of a Madman every time because I plan to be using this in combat.
Mm-hmm. So it kind of but otherwise, just spin the wheel,
unless I've got a
man.
plan like that, yeah, man. 2-costed asset that takes up my hand slot and just says every turn draw an unexpected courage. I don't need it. I don't need it to get the extra wild pips. That's just gravy.
Yeah, like Brand and I were arguing a lot before we started about which one's the best one, but at the end of the day, they're all like very good.
They're all pretty good.
Yeah, I also think of all of these untranslated cards that exist. This is my favorite cycle because it feels like it all kind of rewards what yellow wants to do as opposed to putting yellow somewhere else. Or in the sense of the monster one, the enemy one, it makes it so that you can get out of a sticky situation, right? It's
if
less about
if you can't evade with +4, why were you trying?
Yeah, it's less about killing an enemy, more it is about making this enemy not my problem, which is a lot more seeker than the acidic solution that you throw on them. Right?
Or like if your teammate's like, I'll shoot this guy up too, no problem. What could happen? What's the worst that could happen? And you're like, okay, maybe don't shoot me.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. I think that I think that this is a very strong upgrade, and I really enjoy it, and I really enjoy watching people play with it, and I know when I play with it, I also will have a good time playing with it. It seems great. Any other thoughts?
No, we are all arguing it off camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? I'm going to ask YouTube. What do you guys think? Because this is what I asked them. Because I wanted to know which one to put first. What do you guys think is the strongest of these Dream Diaries? And the reason why Dreams of a Madman is there is because they both said it was good, but they both thought a different one was the strongest. But they're all good. Let's move on. Haste. This is a 3-cost, level 2 ritual asset that takes up one of your spell slots. Commits for a foot, limit 1 per investigator. As a reaction, after you perform the same type of action twice in a row, exhaust haste, take another action of that type again. Types include activate, engage, evade, fight, investigate, move, play, resource, and draw. So activate, if it says activate, fight, that counts as an activate and a fight action, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you activate an item and activate another item, you can activate a third asset or like a card in your display without having to it be a consistent fight or investigate. The little arrow considers itself as the activate action.
Yeah, so for an example, you'd be playing skids with this and play, and you could shoot something with your 41, and then shoot something again with your 41, and then you could use this to activate your burglary, because they all have the little action arrow.
Yeah.
Even though they're kind of different, which feels like cheating, but...
But Dexter Drake doesn't play by the rules.
That's that's Green's identity, so whatever.
That's like what they get to do, so...
Oh yeah, this card's really good.
Yeah, yeah, it's just more action.
This is
extra action every turn.
This card's almost like a 3-costed Leo DeLuca.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. Takes up a slot you probably don't care about.
Yeah. The only thing I will note is I've seen it happen with the Bryn. There's a lot of stuff being like, okay, so what do I do here? It makes your turns a bit more like slowed down and analytical, which is funny for a name like Haste. But I think the card reads strong, and from what I've seen, it plays strong. So I think this card's great. And it's awesome art as well. I really like it.
Yeah.
He's so
how many
magical.
evades could you take in a turn with Finn?
5.
Haste.
5, yeah, 5.
So many evades.
it's 5.
We've done it, folks. And at that point, you're in a pickle because you should really be using that last action to get the heck out of there. Next up on green is Daredevil. This is a level 2 fortune practice skill that commits for a wild. After you commit Daredevil to a skill test, reveal cards on the top of your deck until you reveal a green skill. You can commit to this test, commit it, shuffle each other revealed card back into your deck.
This card's cool and like pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
It's a build around card, but
I am of the opinion that if you're playing this card without a single copy of Double or Nothing in your deck, along with other skills,
you're not a Daredevil.
Not a Daredevil, so you're probably doing it wrong.
I like playing this card with All In as my only other skill.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And then you just always have menu cards.
There's been a lot of people who have been pushing me to do a solo run with Winifred. Because apparently she's really good solo, and a lot of that is like just going all in on the stuff, and I think I might because it seems like a really good time.
She is kind of like Finn with a bear card pool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Finn, how dare you?
She's like Finn with a different card pool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's bear.
Yeah. She doesn't get to play yellow cards at all.
Yeah, but she gets to... I guess that's kind of true.
Yeah.
But do you need them with lockpicks?
Well, the difference is just that you don't get to play the yellow or red cards, and in exchange you get to play
but you can play
green cards that are level 4 and 5. Yeah,
you can play all in.
Yeah, as Travis learned, was actually illegal.
Wait.
Yeah, this card I agree with all the notes. It's built around. It's fun. It's very fun. Like this card, you feel like you're fucking having a wild time when you play it.
Yeah.
And I also agree with Bryn. If you don't have double or nothing in your deck, you aren't a true Daredevil. You're just having a fun time. All right, we got the Empower Self Myriad cards. These are 3 cost, 2 experience ritual events that take up a ritual assets. Sorry, that take up a spell slot. They commit for. Oh no, I have the same one twice. How embarrassing. They commit for books, fists, or I can fix that.
It's okay. It's small enough that no one will be able to tell.
Yeah, just pretend everyone's got this icon.
It commits for the thing on the card that it improves. Myriad, limit 1 Empower Self of its subtype per deck. Up to 3 Empower Self cards take up a single arcane slot. Anytime a card effect requires you to use Brain instead of Book, Fist, or Foot, you may ignore the aspect of that effect. As a Lightning Bolt Exhaust Empower Self, you get +2 Book, +2 Foot, +2 Fist for this test.
They're just pretty good.
I think that they're good for some investigators, but for the average purple investigator, they're quite bad.
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah, like it depends what your stat line looks like, of course.
I think these are like
But you can
really good for Diana.
You can use the fist one on Marie Lambeau to test your shriveling at 1 instead of 5 or whatever you've got.
Yeah, like
so that's kind of cool.
That's part of the struggle with these is like it doesn't really matter which one you're playing at, or like who you're playing. One of them's probably going to be useless.
Mm-hmm. I think as well, like your stat line needs to be, as you were saying, Travis, needs to be built for it. Otherwise, you draw like your fist one, and you're like, great, I can attack at 3. I'm so happy about this, right?
Yeah.
So like, if the investigator has the stats for it, I think these are great. Like you want to be able to benefit realistically from all 3. So when you draw them, you didn't just draw like an overpower, a perception, or manual dexterity, right?
Yeah, I think like if 2 of them are good for you, then that's probably good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like if the last one is just a skill card that doesn't draw you a card, that's like not a terrible deal. You can always just take it out next time you change cards in your deck. Or
I'll tell you.
Yeah, like you do have to. They take up 3 deck slots, and they cost 3 resources each, which is not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought these cards were really cool when I opened up the pack, but I played with them a little bit in that Mary deck, and I was incredibly unimpressed.
Ditto. I'm actually the same. It's a lot of the time you just end up looking at them in your hand, being like, I don't know if I'm ever going to play this, so I'll just...
Like, damn, do I really want to spend 3 resources to get +2 to my punch?
Yeah. I will say, though, they're great when you do a chaos deck building stipulation, and you just can side out a bunch of garbage for 2 experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm exactly with you, Travis. I thought this card I was like, oh, it's going to be so good. Just look at my skill number go up. Justin loves that. But it's too expensive and kind of like too slow.
Too slow.
All right, what's next? Twilight Catherine Price. She's lost in a dream, by the way. This is a 3 cost, 3 experience, ally, artist, dreamer asset that takes up your ally slot because it's an ally. That makes sense. Commits for a book and a fist. She has 1 meat and 2 brain damage. After you spend 1 or more charges from a spell asset, as a reaction, you may exhaust Twilight Catherine Price and place 1 charge on that asset.
So what if you never ran out of shrivelings?
Travis, that sounds really good to me.
Yeah, she's really good. Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
Just not having to run out of your spells that you want to not run out of is incredible for what if you don't want that, right? Like she fixes that problem. And with her and some other stuff, we saw Travis had like a 6 charge shriveling, and he was like, I'm never gonna stop.
They might not have seen that yet, though.
No, probably not, but just some spoilers. We'll cross the streams a bit. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of powerful allies in purple, but I feel like they all kind of fill different niches depending on what you want for your investigator, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, red cards. I can talk about these. All right, Glimmer of Hope. This is a 1-cost Blessed Fortune event that commits for a while. It has Myriad. A Glimmer of Hope can only be played from your discard pile. Add all copies of a Glimmer of Hope in your discard pile to your hand, including this copy.
This card is like kind of sweet if you're playing Minty Fan. Because you can just like when you're committing them to shit, you're just like, I guess one of these is an unexpected courage.
Yeah, that's sweet.
That I can get back for almost free.
Yeah.
It's really good in Wendy.
Yeah.
And Duke.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's really good. Yeah, if what you want to do is discard cards for costs.
Yeah.
This card's got your back.
Yeah, especially because then you can just like, you really don't want to pay like to get one of these. That's pretty low impact.
Yeah. Like if you're paying to get one back, then it's like you've paid one to draw an unexpected courage, which is not terrible.
Yeah, but when you get two, that's like where gets nicer, and then 3, you're like, let's go.
The other awesome thing this one does in Min is it really helps you deal with the King in Yellow.
Yes,
at very
definitely.
minimal cost.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I definitely am with you.
And
Brett.
that's
I think
pretty
Min
huge.
Would be really good. Just a free, like just unlimited unexpected courages. Well, not unlimited. You have to pay for them, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, like they are limited, but like probably more than you need.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're playing Min and you've got
Good.
Sorry, if you're playing Min and you've got this in a Dream Diary, you can make so many wild symbols for free.
Oh baby.
Let's go. All
right. Yeah, I was gonna say that this card is like clearly supposed to be for Patrice, but it's pretty bad in her.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also really good if you're playing Grizzly Totem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the way that Patrice has shaped out is that the cards that were obvious plants for her just don't work with her style of play as well as we all thought they were going to. Yeah. But she keeps us on our toes. That's what Patrice does. Next,
so you can.
Oh, sorry, Travis, you go.
No. You can play a nice little support package with this and the red Grizzly Totem in Father Mateo.
Yes, you can.
Because they are all blessed.
They are blessed.
A little spicy. We gotta definitely, once like another cycle is full, like after Innsmouth, we gotta do like some sort of weird, like cheeky deck building where you choose the character and build completely different than you normally would with them, right? Like
yeah, go back and just revisit Investigators that didn't have deck building support when they came out.
Yeah, yeah. Expeditious Retreat is a 1 experience innate developed skill that commits for a foot. Max 1 committed per skill test. While Expeditious Retreat is committed during a basic evade action, it gains foot, and the text. If this test is successful by 2 or more, you may automatically evade another enemy or location.
So this one's like the worst.
Too.
Yeah, it's the worst one out of its cycle, but that being said, it's still like pretty good.
What's the other card? The survival thing.
Oops.
Survival Instinct.
Oh.
That I told people to play a lot of in our deck tech videos, but like never have played myself.
Yeah, I've been playing with my little brother. I've been playing not Return to the Forgotten Age, but regular Forgotten Age. Because I'm lazy and didn't want to sleeve up the Return to cards. But in the Forgotten Age, this card is incredible. There's so many things that you just don't want to fight.
Yeah, so Survival Instinct lets you evade all the enemies that you're engaged with, but this one lets you evade an enemy that someone else is engaged with.
Mm-hmm. Plus, it doesn't you can cheese elite enemies down that have bigger evade than the guy you're trying to dodge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can try to dodge like a lumbering Gug.
I mean, like you're getting no free for this thing. But...
yeah. And then you can just be like, yeah, cool, that guy who's impossible to evade, he is.
Yeah, I mean, that all sounds nice. I've never liked these having 2 for 1, like the oops style cards, but being able to evade another enemy or location if it's with another investigator makes this card a lot better.
Yeah,
than those
I think
cards.
that the evasion thing is something we as a playgroup shy away from.
Mm-hmm.
But like other people might just be more into that than us.
Yeah.
Like you could, if we played more, if we don't like fighting monsters so much. We could be playing more clue-oriented decks and like all be looking at more temporary solutions to monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's less fun than punching a man so hard he explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
no, that's way cooler, and that's why we do it.
Yeah.
I do wish there was more text of, like, with evading that, like, tap them for an additional turn, right? Like the freeze effect, like the slip away.
That's like incredibly powerful, though.
It is, and it's just like and I think that's why we shy away from it, because we're just like we don't like temporary solutions to our problems. We would rather just have this thing gone.
This is a temporary solution, but this Gug is not a temporary problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, no, I think echo the sentiment of the other ones. This is the weakest of them, but it can be very high impact when it hits really well.
Very good.
Yeah, like it is the worst of the three, but it's still a good card.
Yeah, and only one experience, and in red you're gonna have that. Even with the new like 5 cost things, you're not. Those are so built around that it's not even gonna be like your thing. So.
Yeah, like if I showed up playing with random people, there's a fair number of cards in this game that I would be like mad to see them playing. This is definitely not one of them by any stretch.
All right,
So
what do we
players
think
can be
of
like,
this
okay.
pack as a whole? Obviously, if you want to play with the Dream Diaries, oh god, they're just gone, huh? You want to,
Yeah, if you wanna.
you're gonna want this set to pay it off, right? Haste is
If you
strong.
want to play yellow with this cycle, you want this pack.
Yeah, unlike the last pack we reviewed, if you want to play green, this
You want
pack's
this
pretty
one.
good for this one, for that one.
Yeah.
So
And then depending on the flavor of purple and red guys you play, you might want this one. The blue cards in this one are like fine, but I would definitely would not buy this for them.
Yeah, I'd say that this is like unless you're looking to like finish the yellow or the green, like this is probably just like a 5 out of 10 pack, pretty
Or
average.
Twilight. Twilight's like
Yeah, Twilight's good.
pretty
Yeah.
sick.
Maybe
yeah, I
6
suppose
out of 10.
leaderships are kind of neat if you're playing like a Protect the Joe comp.
Poor Joe.
But
Oh yeah, like I'm not like why would they put this garbage in my pack? I don't want to pay for this on those
Yeah.
cards, but I
The-
definitely wouldn't buy them for this pack.
they are a little more niche than many blue cards are.
Yeah. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next week for the next cycle. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. And not cycle, Mythos pack. You know what I mean. Have a good one. And as always, GG's.